Welcome in, everybody. Bo here for the Pick'em Championship. This is Thursday Night Football going into Week 12. And, of course, we are broadcasting live from Crucible Brewing right here in Everett, Washington, off of Everett Mall Way. So if you are in the Pacific Northwest and you want to come hang out with us for Thursday Night Football, be sure to come on out to Crucible Brewing, again, right here in Everett, and have a beer with me. Let's talk some football. But we got the championship that we are going over. And, of course, our championship is also brought to you by Bet Us. And if you use the QR code on the screen, you get up to 125% of your first three deposits, 10% bet guarantee in case maybe you follow some of our predictions a little too close. But use that QR code, bet alongside us right here at the Pick'em Championship. Okay, so I always like to start this off with the ones that I got wrong last week. And so first one, let's see, get this screen up and running here. We are dealing with a little bit of Comcast action where it's not exactly been smooth sailing to start this thing out. So bear with us. We will get through this show and our picks, but yeah, it's been a little bumpy. And what's happening, Daniel? Joe, appreciate you tuning in, man. Okay, so let's go over the ones that I got wrong from last week. And we started out pretty strong. Definitely didn't see the Chargers just absolutely falling apart against the Jaguars. Jaguars are a really inconsistent team, kind of frustrating to watch. They come out on fire in this game, but I took the Chargers. I don't believe in the Jags. Even though they have a winning record, I still don't believe in the Jags. So 89% of the people bet alongside me there, and we all got it wrong. So Vegas made some money there. Also, I had the Vikings at home. I thought they were going to be able to do it. The Bears were able to just edge them out. Really kind of a terrible game overall. But, if you wanted to see good football, that wasn't the route. Another game that this one could have either way, so I wouldn't have been mad at it if you took the Seahawks or the Rams. This was my game of the week, and it was just a really sloppy game when it came to the Seahawks. Sam Darnold turns the ball over 4 times. Obviously didn't have that on my bingo card. I did think that Seattle would be able to get this one. I like the defense a little bit better, and if you watched the game, the defense was phenomenal. They turned the ball over. A couple of those interceptions were on their side of the field and still managed to give them no points out of them. So it was it was a disappointing loss, but also just showed you the strength of the defense. You give up the ball 4 times and you don't get blown out. That is a testament to the other side of the ball. The Broncos winning over KC. The Broncos have proven that they can figure out how to beat anybody in the fourth quarter. I've been betting against them solely because the only time the offense shows up is the fourth quarter. And at some point that's going to burn you. I thought it was going to burn them against KC, but KC didn't look particularly great either. And the Broncos do have an elite defense. So that plays a huge factor in it, but I did think KC would get there. Also with the Lions, I thought the Lions were going to be able to get it done on the road just because the Eagles offense really hasn't been able to figure out how to do anything. And, they did just enough. Some of that was aided by the fact that the Lions went for it on 4th down 5 times, didn't get it on any of those times, a couple of them on their side of the field that did ultimately lead to some points for the Eagles. But, another just kind of ugly game. And so that's where I went wrong last of them right. So it wasn't too bad. And yes, Minnesota, I think, messed a lot of parlays up. That one I felt like it was a bit of a coin flip, but I thought Minnesota was going to look a little better than they did. But if you look at the percentages that are on the screen, most people thought that was more or less a coin flip of a game. And, ultimately it kind of was. So, but yeah, if you were betting on Minnesota, that one was tough. That one was tough. So, all right. So let's get into this week, and we're going to kind of go through this show a little bit fast. compared to how we normally do it, and solely because the internet keeps dropping out, and I want to make sure that we get through this thing. So if it seems like I'm kind of going through faster than I normally would, that is why, solely because I'm not convinced we're going to be able to keep the signal the whole time. During my whole setup, it kept dropping out. We finally got it somewhat stable literally 30 seconds before we hit live. So, that's kind of where we're at. All right, so we start off with the game tonight. It's going to be the Bills and the Texans. 96% of people on the Bills here, and rightfully so. Now, the line has moved to 5. It's sort of fluctuated a little bit. It opened at 4. It moved up to 5.5, which is always that line that I say you got to worry about. It's dropped back down to 5. Some people have started buying back into the Texans, and the problem is the Texans are without Stroud, right? So they are with Davis Mills. He's had moments. He's looked decent. He's he hasn't been as bad as I thought he would be going into that, but I still don't think he's going to be any match for the Bills. He managed to lead the team back against the Jags. They beat the Titans, which, of course they did. Now they're going to play a much better caliber team. I'm going to go with the Bills here. I just don't think the Texans have enough for them. I'm going to also go with them to cover. 5 probably isn't enough. I think they win by a touchdown. If you're doing prop bets or anything like that, I wouldn't look for Josh Allen to have more than 1 rushing touchdown. The defense for the Texans has been underwhelming, and they're not going to probably need Josh Allen to rush for those. He's probably going to be able to throw for them. So I'm going to go with the Bills to win outright, to also cover. 44.5 probably is about right. I'm going to go with it's just the over. So, but if you look down through here, the defense for the Texans is still really good, holding teams to the worst yardage in the league and the lowest points. At the same time, the Bills score, right? Their defense has some issues, but their defense is also the best against passing. So I think the Bills just square up nicely against this Texans team and ultimately get through it. So for my first pick, in tonight's game, I'm going to go with the Bills. All right. And then we are done with the international series. So we start off of our normal early time slot here on the West Coast. And we got the Jets at the Ravens. This is not going to be a particularly good game. The Ravens are a 13.5-point favorite. I don't love lines that are that big. Now, the Ravens are sort of in that spot where they really need to start winning games. And so this is a must win. Obviously, they're going to, because the Jets are awful. But I would stay away from the money line. A minus 909 for a $900 to win $100 isn't really worth it. Minus 13.5 is a tough one to take. I think the Ravens do cover this, though. 44.5. I'm going to go with the under. I don't think the Jets are going to do a whole lot. Now, if you look at the injury report, you do have he's actually not on here. So, yeah, okay. So he's not on there. So that's actually encouraging. Yeah, so Lamar Jackson was reported to have an ankle injury, but he is not showing up on the injury report. So that being said, that means he will be good to go. I will absolutely take the Ravens to demolish the Jets. All right. And then we get into another early matchup here. Again, this is 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Obviously, if you're East Coast, it's the 1 o'clock. We got the Steelers at the Bears. The big question for the Steelers here is whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to play. He had an injury. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so he is still questionable with the injury. Slay is under concussion protocol. I would bet that he is not available. When it comes to the Bears, they are healthy enough, and so I really think the Bears will be able to get this done. They are the better team, really, kind of across the board. You got Mason Rudolph, kind of getting into this where he's familiar with the system. I think he's going to be able to run the system. The Bears, I think, will be able to do just enough. The line is just 2.5, and that's probably about right. This seems like it will be one of those field goal style games. This is in Chicago, so that is a huge benefit to the Bears here. It's tough for me to take the Bears just because I don't believe in Caleb Williams' ability to stay consistent. But, he does have a pretty successful run on the scripted plays to start games. And as long as it doesn't have a ridiculous drop-off, the Steelers' defense really hasn't looked very good this year. You have Mason Rudolph in there. I think he'll make enough mistakes that the Bears get this done. So I go with the Bears to win outright. I picked them to cover because that 2.5 is probably just not I don't think it'll be a 1-point game. I think this will be about a field goal. So I do like the Bears at home. All right. So then we got the Patriots about to destroy the Bengals. Bengals are at home. They are a 6-point underdog. Over under a 51. 97% of America here is on the Patriots, as am I. The Bengals are just not a good team. They don't do anything particularly well. You also have Jamar Chase suspended for this game because of the whole spitting situation. He's out. You still have Flacco in. This isn't the game that Burrow is available to come back. It sounds like the first availability for him will be against the Ravens. So this one is really everything slides to the Patriots. So they are absolutely going to just beat up on this Bengals team. Oh, is Burrow playing? I didn't see that. I saw it was still listed as Flacco. But if that is the case, okay, Flacco with the shoulder. I got you. Yeah, so if that's the case, if Burrow is playing, it's not going to matter. I mean, Flacco showed that he could play under center on that team as well as anybody else. The biggest problem with that team's been the defense, and the defense for the Patriots has been fantastic. So is far ahead of schedule as the offense is, and then how bad the defense has been for the Bengals. I still think this is going to be a Patriots win here. But, yeah, I didn't see that Joe was for sure the starter. So if you're a Bengals fan, you're feeling a little encouraged. But when the only target he's going to have is Higgins, I don't know how encouraged you could really be. Okay. Continuing on here, we have the Giants at the Lions. Lions are a 10.5-point favorite at home, over under a 50. I like the over here. I also like the Lions to cover. After the way they lost last week, I have a feeling they are going to come out mad. This is a Dan Campbell team that does not like to lose, certainly doesn't want to lose multiple games in a row. I got the Lions here covering and just beating up on a bad Giants team, especially with all the injuries that are on it. Winston will score some points. He will also probably throw a pick six. It's Jameis Winston. He'll be exciting, but he doesn't tend to win you a lot of games. So there's a reason he is called that 30-30 guy, because of the year that he had 30 touchdowns, 30 picks. This is a team that I believe that he's probably going to throw a couple too. If you look at the offense and the defense, they are worse at literally everything when it comes to this matchup. Both teams have a lot of injuries. The injuries for the Giants tend to be a little bit more more of their key players are injured, I should say, for the Giants. So this is a Lions get-right game, And, I do believe that they get that one done. This game here, this one is a very interesting game to me, and also my game of the week, because this is really going to determine which team goes forward. And our game of the week is brought to you in part by True Fusion Gym. Use the QR code on the screen for any of the 3 locations: Bellevue, Ballard, University Village. Get a free 5-day pass at any of those locations. Pilates Boot Camp Yoga Bar. They also have Reformer Studios coming soon, so stay tuned for that. If you are a Pilates fanatic, find your edge at True Fusion Gym. Also brought to you in part by Archer Duct Cleaning. If you are starting to smell burnt dust in your house, especially as it starts to get colder, give them a call. It's all about air quality. And when you get into the colder time of year, if you have allergies, anything like that, you can become very wheezy, have to use inhalers if you have asthma, stuff like that. So duct cleaning is really important. Also, if you haven't had your dryer ducts cleaned in the last year, 15,000 dryer fires happen every year across America. So be sure to get those done. And even if you're not in the Northwest here and can't use Archer, be sure to give someone a call in your area. Your house depends on it. So be sure to do that. All right. And so that game of the week that we were talking about is the Vikings at the Packers, because this is an incredibly important game for both of these. Packers, if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, and of course the Vikings, if they want to try and climb their way back into it. There is still enough time, but they kind of have to win a lot and right away. So if we look at this matchup, the Packers are a 6.5 point favorite at home, over under a 41.5. We get down here, they are the better team, really just about everywhere. And the injuries is really where the Packers have a little bit of an issue. They have far more injuries than the Vikings. It's ultimately not going to matter, though. The Packers are going to use this as a get-right game. It's a divisional game, so it means a lot to them as well. So I do have Green Bay getting it done at home against a division rival. Yeah, not much more analysis has to go into that one. 92% of America agrees with me there, so there is that element of it too. All right. Now, this one could have been my game of the week as well, because this one has a lot of importance for both of these teams. Now, you have the Colts headed to KC. 56% of America is taking KC in this battle. They are a 3.5 point favorite at home, over under a 50. Now, if you've watched any of my other shows, I've been a little bit down on the Colts only because of the strength of the opponents that they've played. Well, this is one that is a game that matters. So if they beat KC, all of a sudden you can look at this team and be like, okay, you know what? They are for real. Yeah, they've played some softer teams, but you can only play the teams that are on your schedule. So if they can get a couple of these good wins, that's where you'll see them climb up my power rankings. I have them as 7th right now, despite the fact that they do have one of the best records in the league, but only because they played teams like the Raiders and the Titans, and I just couldn't quite believe in them. Then you go to KC, their record isn't necessarily indicative of the caliber of team that they could be, only because if you remember, a couple of their losses early in the year were with some of their key members out. Rashee Rice was out, and so this is a must-win for both of these teams. Now, if the Colts don't win it, it's not a must-win like it will knock them out of the playoff hunt or out of the division or anything like that. It's just are they a real team? So that's where it's a must-win for them. They need to have a good victory. So that's the way I look at it. It's must-win for them. For KC, it's legitimately a must-win because they do have some harder teams that they face coming up. And if they drop really a couple more games, they're going to be outside looking in when it comes to the playoffs. They have a couple of teams within their own division that are ahead of them. So at this point, their division is probably almost out of reach anyway. They're really playing for the wild card. And at 5-5, they're not sitting in the driver's seat. Like, they're going to have to rely on some people losing, and they're going to have to win. So for them to go in and win this game would be huge. So this is going to be a great game either way. I've really gone back and forth on this. I do like the Colts here. I think the Colts finally get a really good win on the road. When you look statistically, they are the better team, but when you look at the numbers, KC isn't bad either. Like they're good kind of on offense and defense. They're a pretty balanced team. Obviously, the offense for the Colts has been amazing. Jonathan Taylor is making a case to have some MVP votes. Obviously, if he breaks any rushing records, he has a real good shot at it. But, it's the passing defense of the Colts that is a little bit of an issue. As you can see, they are ranked 26th. So not that is a huge difference when you are looking at total yards per game, but, it is something that KC does well and that their defense doesn't. So that'll be one of the biggest things right there. But I do like the Colts on the road here. And, you're right. This is a must-win for the Chiefs if they want to get into the playoffs. Yeah, absolutely. You are 100% correct there. Okay, so this is about to be a beatdown of a game. The Seahawks headed to Tennessee, and the Titans are a 13-point underdog at home, over under 40.5. I like the over here, and I think the Seahawks probably cover. This seems like they win by 14 to 17 points. After the way they played against the Rams, they're going to come in angry and wanting to prove a point. The Titans are bad at literally everything. So they're going to be able to exploit just about every weakness, offense, defense, special teams. Seahawks are going to be able to get this one done and absolutely cruise through them. There are a couple of injuries, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be a huge issue on the Seahawks side. And then when it comes to the Titans, the Xavier Woods injury is probably the most concerning. It's a hamstring. I fully expect him to be limited if he does play. That all that does is make it even easier for the Seattle offense. They're going to go in and absolutely destroy the Titans. And sorry, Sam, if you're watching, your team is, they're bad this year. So it's unfortunate. This one here is a curious game because the Cardinals can beat anybody. They're a 3-point underdog at home, 88% on the Jags. I took the Jags here, but it's not a confident pick. This is one of those where I always talk about, if you're betting pizza money, probably just order the pizza. And this is that game because the Cardinals could absolutely come out and win this game. And the Jags are they're Jekyll and Hyde. Like some weeks they come out and look great, and some weeks they don't look like they've ever played football before. So it is both these teams are really tough to watch. Now, when we get down to some of the rankings, obviously they do square off fairly well against each other. They're actually very balanced when it comes to that. It's the injury lists that are the biggest thing. So the Cardinals have 29 on the injury list. That is actually an improvement over last week where they had 31. Only 19 when it comes to your Jaguars. And I would bet that a lot of these are ones that they're going to play through. Like you have Yasir with a finger. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play. Some of these ankle and knees, I'm always on the end of if it's a hard part. So if it's an ankle, a knee, a wrist, something like that, the odds of you playing are pretty good. You tape it up, you put a brace on it, whatever. When it comes to things like hamstrings and quads, groins, that's where I start to feel like guys could miss some time. So when you're looking at, like Newsome with an ankle, there's a good chance that they throw some extra tape on it and some padding and he gets out there. But when you're looking at Jerrion Jones with a quad, that's a concern, right? And when you go to the other side, you have a concussion for Browning. Obviously we're doing this on a Thursday, so you really don't know if they're going to be able to clear protocol by the time Sunday rolls around. If they can, awesome. But because we lock all these picks in on Thursday, I don't put a lot of stock in it. So I would bet on him being out. Again, you got a groin here, a back. Like those are ones where you're just like, yeah, I don't feel good about it. They actually have a lot of ankle injuries, which is kind of interesting. But could the Cardinals win? Absolutely. They do have the good enough roster to do it. I don't think they do. Marvin Harrison's still out with his appendix. So I'm going to go with they just don't have enough firepower to take down the Jags, and the Jags get this one done. But when you go up, it's 3 points. I like the Jags to cover. They probably win by a touchdown. Could be 3, so it might be a push, but I do have them covering. Betting the house on Seattle. I mean, yeah. Well, so I would bet them on the money line. Like if you were just betting them to win, Joe, I wouldn't necessarily bet them to cover. Seattle is not a great coverage team. So even though I picked them to cover, I don't think I would put a lot of money on the coverage. Now they should beat them up, but historically, Seattle isn't a great coverage team in general. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you are going to bet them, as far as covering, don't bet a lot. So I would not bet the house. Now, we do have what is going to be a well-televised terrible team or terrible game. And that's where we have the Browns and the Raiders. The Raiders are a 4-point favorite at home, which is actually a little bit curious to me. You do have Shedeur Sanders in his debut as a starter. So the money line there for the Browns of a plus 165, that's actually kind of intriguing. I do like the Browns to cover. I had actually picked them to win outright. So as you can see on my pick there, that's who I have. 62% of America is on the Raiders at home. I do think we're not going to see as bad of I don't think we're going to see as bad of an outing from Shedeur. He does have a week as far as, practice with his team. And you're also looking at a Raiders team that just isn't very good. So especially when you think of kind of how Geno Smith has played, he's thrown a lot of picks, a lot of errant passes. And the one thing about the Browns is their defense is very good. So they will create a couple of extra opportunities. So do I think that Shedeur is going to light it up? Absolutely not. Do I believe that he will have a better day than he did in the second half of the last game? Absolutely. And their defense are going to be able to get after Geno well enough that he might get a couple of extra offensive possessions here. So if Geno can protect the football, I fully believe the Raiders could win. We just haven't seen him do that yet. And so I'm going to go with the Browns to get it done. As you can see right here, their total yards on defense is second in the league, third against the pass, against a team that has really been pass first with Geno. Genty really hasn't had great opportunities. Some of that is because the offensive line hasn't opened big enough holes for him to have success. So I'm going to go with the Browns get it done. This is probably a game you want to watch on Red Zone, though, because it's not going to be overly exciting. All right. So then we get into a rematch of the opening weekend. And so you have the Eagles on the road going to the Cowboys. 3-point favorite on the road, 47.5. I do like the over here. Some of that is because the Dallas defense just really isn't good, especially in the secondary. At the same time, the Eagles really haven't been good on offense, and that's not something new. It's been the entire season. They just have not been able to get any kind of consistent rhythm going. But this is the game they may be able to establish that, solely because the back end of that defense for the Cowboys really isn't overly good. So if we come down and we take a look at these rankings, the Eagles are better on offense. compared to the Dallas defense. Dallas defense is worst at everything. Then you go down to the Dallas offense, and they are the best in passing, second best in scoring, third best at yards, as far as total yards. So it's really encouraging, right? And that's why I like the over. I think this is a situation where both teams are going to be able to put up some points. You look at the defense for the Eagles, they're a middle of the road defense. So it's one of those where the Eagles offense, although middle of the road, is going to be able to beat up on a non-existent Dallas defense. And then on the other side of it, you have a top tier offense for the Cowboys going against a middle of the road defense for the Eagles. And that's where I think this becomes a very competitive game, but probably a little bit higher scoring than it was opening night. That being said, I just do not believe in the Cowboys at all. I will take the Eagles on the road here to improve to 9-2. All right. And this one here, this is just the battle of the bad. We got the Falcons at the Saints. Both teams are terrible. Now you have Penix out. He's on IR, done for the year. Saints are a 2-point favorite at home, which is actually, honestly, a little surprising to me. The Falcons are the better team just across the board. They do have Kirk Cousins coming back. Now, it's been a little while since he's played, so I'm curious to see exactly what it is he's going to look like. The Falcons do have some injuries, and so that is some of it. At the other end, the Saints, Alvin Kamara is questionable with an ankle. Ankle injuries are a little bit of a concern when you think of a running back, so I'll be curious to see, even if he's in the game, if he is fully healthy or if he's more or less on a pitch count there. But if we come into the Falcons, Drake London, doubtful with a knee injury. You do get their linebacker Verdon back. You also get their other linebacker Anderson back. So both of those guys were on the injury report, have recovered. They will play. So you do have that. I like the Falcons on the road here. At some point, I just think the Saints are playing for that number 1 overall pick. So I'm going to go with the Falcons on the road to improve to 4-7. All right. And then if we go into the Sunday night game, this game could have been a lot better than it's going to be. So the Rams are 6.5 point favorite at home. 49.5 is the line here. The Bucs, if they could have kept anybody healthy, this game would have been amazing. Unfortunately for them, really all they have left is Baker. And as much as Baker will fight to the end to make this thing happen, it's probably just not going to be enough, especially against a really top-tier Super Bowl favorite Rams team here. 89% of America going with the Rams. I am also going with the home team. We scroll down, as you can see, the Rams are better across the board. And even the things that they're not necessarily a ton better at, when you look at one of the few dots for the defense on the Bucs, they're 10th against the rush. The defense for the Rams is 11th, right? When you're looking at, the other thing that they're good at is they're 16th in passing. Well, when you go against the passing yards, passing for the Rams here, they're 6th. So at the end of the day, the Rams are just a better team, top to bottom. They're healthier. They win easily at home. What's happening, John? Thanks for tuning in, man. All right. And then, of course, we have the Monday night game, which is actually going to be kind of interesting. You have a slightly overachieving Panthers team here. Now, 94% of America is on the Niners. I do like the Niners here as well. Over under of 49.5. I'm not entirely sure it goes that far. So I would actually take the under there. I think you have a little bit of fool's gold when it comes to Bryce based on his last week. People are losing their minds like, oh, has he finally arrived? It's one game. Let's calm down, people. The Niners defense is no joke. The Niners are a 7-point favorite at home. I think that's probably right. I think they win by 7, so it'd be a push, but that does make them cover. So if you're on that money line, that's the route I would go. You come down. The offense is definitely better than the defense for the Niners. So some of that is encouraging, but it's not enough better, right? So, and the one thing that they're really not good at is scoring points on offense, which is a major concern when you think of the defense for the Niners, who are 14th as far as allowing points. So then if you go to the other end of that, you have the offense for the Niners. They do have Mr. Irrelevant back. And so I think that it'll move a little bit better than it did with Mac Jones, although he did a great job while he was there. You got Carolina as your upset. I mean, I'm not mad at that. Like, Joe, that's not a terrible upset pick. The only thing why I'm going with the Niners is they've just found ways to win despite having crazy amounts of injuries, and now they're starting to get guys back. And so that's where, Brandon Ayuk is finally back. That is a huge thing for them because he's been gone for really the entire season. And the guys that you do have questionable in here, obviously Beal, probably not going to make it back with a concussion. Pinheiro with a hamstring. Again, I never feel good about that. But Tatum with the ankle, I would bet that he plays. So I don't know. It's tough to go against the home team here as well as the Niners have played. So I'm going to go with them. Yeah, my upset pick is technically the Browns because they are the underdogs. So my upset of the week is the Browns here. But yeah, I'm not mad at it if you took the Panthers. I just don't see them having enough to get by the Niners. Now, as a Seahawks fan, I do hope you're right because if we could use the help as far as them getting beat up. Similarly, I wouldn't mind seeing the Bucks get a win here. So, it would help Seattle out. That's just my home team, feel for that. So that's where we are with the picks. So we'll just go do a recap real quick. So for tonight's game, I have the Bills over the Texans comfortably. We got the Ravens getting it done against the Jets, the Bears over the Steelers. Again, a lot of that has to do with Aaron Rodgers potentially not playing. I got the Patriots over the Bengals, despite the fact that Burrow is going to be back. The Lions decimate the Giants. Packers in a narrow victory over the Vikings. Colts finally getting that statement win over KC. The Seahawks just running roughshod over the Titans. Jags getting that win on the road over the Cardinals. Browns over the Raiders as the upset. Eagles on the road over Dallas. Falcons in probably the worst game of the week over the Saints. The Rams getting it done and the Niners getting it done, both at home. And amazingly, we were able to make it through this and not have signal drop out. So I'm calling that a win as well. If you are here in the Pacific Northwest, be sure to come on out to Crucible Brewing. We are broadcasting this live from there, and we're going to watch the Thursday Night Football, obviously, from here as well. So around the area, come on out, have a beer with us. And other than that, we are going to get out of here now that I jinxed it and the signal goes away. So otherwise, enjoy the game tonight. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning on Coast to Coast, and enjoy the game tonight. Take it easy, everybody. All right. Well, maybe not.